Hi, everyone, and welcome to our first monologue of February 2024. And today I'm talking about the work of Thomas Hobbes, an English philosopher from the 15th century. And so, why am I going back that far? The reason we talk about Hobbes today is because it talks about the social contract. The social contract is an idea that's based on the theory that human society left on its own cannot function properly. We are torn by tensions between three things: diffidence, competition, and glory. Diffidence is the weak, or those who perceive themselves as weak, being swayed by the needs and aspirations of the powerful. Glory is obviously the powerful trying to gain more power, more material, more glory for themselves. And competition obviously is the harm done to society by people of more equivalent power fighting each other in order to gain ascendancy in either material or social status. So we created something called government to help us as a social contract to protect us from ourselves, essentially. And this has become an absolute necessity. And I may add, it is a necessary evil. It's absolutely necessary. We can't live without it. But government is not necessarily good or friendly or kind. It just doesn't work like that. Now coming to Kenya now. In Kenya, we recently had a headline on one of our Daily Nation newspaper, I think a couple of days ago, that just said a broken system. And then they gave a litany of all these areas in which government is performing below par, including whether issuance of government documents like passports or healthcare, etc., etc. There's stories that we are familiar with. Now, the reactions show our lack of understanding as a society of how we are meant to do things, or we don't understand the social contract. Some people came out saying, no, the government system is not broken, government's functioning well. Rubbish. But they said it very stridently. Some people said that the people in government are evil. No, I don't think they are. They couldn't have planned for this mess, because that would be crazy. I don't think they're crazy. And some people came out saying like we should have elected so and so instead of so and so. Government, if it functions properly, the person elected to be at the helm of it ends up being a pretty minor detail, especially under our new constitution in Kenya. The presidency, the powers of the presidency, or the difference in your lives from the president, made by the president's whims, are very small compared to what it was before. But anyway, as I said, it's just that Kenyans, we choose to ignore these humanities, and it costs us. So look at what's happening now. Government, first of all, is meant to be free from human weaknesses. So it's meant to be able to function without needing to like someone or needing to be liked. Or it's not meant to be needy in that way. It's meant to have systems. It doesn't sleep. It has plans, it has structures. It doesn't wake up wondering what to do today, because it has a plan, which is maybe a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, 1-year plan, whatever. But its functions are dictated. Now it's about performing those functions. If you look at Kenya, there are certain things that point to this dysfunction. For example, I'm in the conservation sector. The Ogiek people are being violently evicted from their homes in the Mau complex, ostensibly because they're compromising the quality of that water tower. The same Kenya government, however, is building a road across the Aberdare forest, damaging our most important water tower at this time. It's all the approvals are through. So what does this government want? How is it functioning? Just the other day, I saw a new mandate being proposed for private security guards to have powers of arrest and detention to make up for shortfalls in our security personnel, or inavailability of security personnel. But the same government is exporting security personnel to Haiti to do God knows what there. this points to no plan being in place, and things are just happening in ad hoc. It's like Mordecai waking up every day and decide, what should I do today? If you look at there's a proposed plan to put tolls on various roads in Kenya. I'm a legal layperson, but I know that will run into trouble in court, because I know our price of fuel includes a road maintenance levy, so that will be double taxation. But the crazy thing is that the minister proposing this is actually a lawyer by training, so he knows better. But there's lack of structure, planning, direction. He doesn't know what he's supposed to do. He doesn't know what his mandate is, how he's supposed to perform it, and that's what's worrying. Government, if those who have lived long enough in Kenya have known that government has done some pretty bad things in the past decades even, but they were planned. You can see where the plan went, where it went after that, and all these kind of things. And for an example, you look at under the former president's government, there was a huge money heist from the National Youth Service. You could see this thing started from the creation of a ministry for devolution, which was very necessary. It was the first devolved government, and this ministry of devolution had the greatest allocation of government funding in the budget, which is right and necessary. But this allocation of government funding was to go to the counties. But within that ministry, we needed a central government department if we are to corruptly embezzle this money. So the National Youth Service, which has nothing to do with devolution, was put under that ministry. And the rest is history. So this was a nefarious plan, but it shows planning. A lot of what's happening now, the bad and even the occasional good, is not planned. And that's a problem. That's when we see our problem, the structure of our coffee marketing mechanism here. Instead of dismantling it and making it afresh, we had the deputy president traveling even to Colombia. I'm not sure what part of our coffee industry can be influenced one way or another by Colombia. But this is the thing. We just don't have a structure of where we are going. The mess that our children find themselves in under the competency-based curriculum, so-called, it couldn't have been planned, because that would be cruelty to children if anyone ever planned that mess. So the mess is as a result of no one planning. The meetings at which these things were drawn up, they only planned for that per diem of that meeting. Sign here, take your allowance and go home. You see that even legislators don't seem to know their job. You see legislators speaking so eloquently on radio, TV, newspapers, public, everywhere. But those same people are completely silent inside the legislature when all this government in the face of all these government shortcomings. So this is the problem. We don't understand the social contract. That's why it affects us from the top, people at the top not knowing what they're doing, down to people at the bottom sitting and expecting that the solution will come from somewhere. It starts with every individual. The social contract starts with you as an individual, you and your wife, or you and your husband, you and your children. It starts at home. You get that in order, then the society, it percolates upwards into the society and into leadership. Kenya is in deep problems now because we keep thinking someone's coming to sort this out. The school does something out of order with your child, but you think, no, the school has they know what they're doing. They can't have done something wrong. Everyone is fallible and everyone is responsible. That's the social contract. Government is meant to provide us structures through which we can implement the social contract, and we must hold them to account. This sort of dysfunction is why in Kenya you find these strange animals called bloggers, whose job it is to scream that something's good when it's bad. It's this same attitude that we feel you cannot criticize someone because you voted for them. In fact, you should be his harshest critic. How can your kid underperform in school and you don't criticize him because you are the one who paid his fees? No, you are the one who must be most demanding of him. We must be very demanding of our leaders and ourselves and our society. In that way, we will end up being somewhat functional. But otherwise, right now, we are declining into what's called like a Hobbesian, the Hobbesian society. Back to the story of Hobbes, where it's just diffidence, competition, and the quest for glory. The wider society just suffers, and they don't even know why they're suffering. So let's think about that, and we'll have more on the humanities as the year goes along.